I really hope this light is not looking horrible. If it is, I'm sorry because I'm probably gonna post this video anyway. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name is Hephzibah and I do videos related to business, professional development, career, college life, things of that nature. So if you enjoy that type of stuff, make sure to subscribe and like this video if you enjoy it. It's definitely been a minute since I've last posted, which I did not want to happen, but you know, I was in the middle of moving. I went back home and now I'm in a new apartment and school has started. So now that I feel pretty settled, I'm definitely going to be more consistent. You can expect to see like a video per week from me, and I am in a new place. So if you would like to see like an apartment tour, make sure you let me know down in the comments. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing my top tips on how to prepare for an interview. Prepping is the biggest part in an interview, and if you prep well, you can like really guarantee yourself that you're going to have a successful interview, whether you get it or not. You can be confident in how you presented yourself. So I actually I had technically like 4 interviews last week. I had 2 super days, and then I had an interview the week before with a consulting company. So I feel like I've been doing a lot of prep in the past couple weeks, and I wanted to share with you like what I did personally, like, and what I recommend you to do. So here we go. Okay, the first step, or the first tip that I have for you in prepping and what I did was research. And I feel like I'm gonna end up saying this in every single like career advice video I have, because it's so important. You want to be knowledgeable in whatever you're doing. So there's, under research, I feel like there's 3 things. So 1, researching information about the company. You could, in all the interviews I had, and this is very common, the interview is going to ask you what you know about the company or what made you want to work at the firm. They're going to ask you, oh, why did you choose this company? Or like, what do you think sets us apart versus other companies? I got that question quite a bit. I got it in multiple interviews, which kind of surprised me because I kept on having to answer it over and over again. But yeah, so doing research about the company, and you don't have to learn everything about it. You don't need to know their stock price or anything like that, but looking up like one thing that you're passionate about and see if that they have anything that aligns with that. So like me personally, one thing that I can automatically go to every time is me being Black. So if I look into a company, what they're doing when it comes to diversity, inclusion, or their corporate responsibility efforts, which also is something that I'm passionate about, I can tie that back. So that's what I actually do with JPMorgan. Every time they ask, I would bring up their corporate responsibility stuff, their advancing their pathways, the fact that they've been doing stuff for a year, so things of that nature. So you don't have to look up everything, but look up one thing that you can do. The next thing I suggest researching is common interview questions. This is what I did when I interviewed last year with JPMorgan. I looked up interview questions for JPMorgan Chase, and I came up with a list of like 70 questions. I want to say like Glassdoor, Reddit will have stuff, random websites will have like a list of like 70 questions that other people have experienced before. And it was funny because literally the night before I was looking at those questions, when I had my over the phone interview for ABP, she asked questions that were on that list. I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing every time now. And last week when I interviewed with Chase again, I did the same thing. I felt a little bit more comfortable. I didn't have to do as much prep, I felt like, but I still went through the common questions just in case, and there were similar things like that in my interview. So look at common interview questions. If you're interviewing for a case company, you can, they don't switch it up just because you're here. You're not special enough for them to ask you a whole entire new list of questions. So look them up, and you should be able to find some stuff that's similar to what they're gonna ask you. And then the last thing under research that I suggest doing is look up what type of interview the companies do. So a lot of companies do different types. Sometimes there's behavioral, sometimes they're more technical. So really knowing what you're getting into beforehand helps a lot. I hope y'all can't hear that in the background.
Will you please turn it down? Thank you.
But anyways, yeah, so I interviewed with Accenture, and their interview was nothing like I've done before. But since I had looked it up beforehand and they kind of told us what to expect, I was able to reach out to some other people who work at Accenture and kind of ask them for advice when it comes to this. So I had to do a tech showcase, which was I had to give a quick 10-minute presentation on a certain type of technology, which I was like, what, in an interview, why would they make me do that? But knowing what that was like, it helped me guide how I was gonna train. This is not, I said train. Yeah, this is not physical activity, how I prepped. So my second tip for you guys on when prepping for an interview is to prepare examples for like a set amount of questions. So you can, in an interview, they're always going to ask you questions that relate to conflict, to teamwork, to leadership, and to see if you're passionate and driven about something. So with the conflict, they're going to say like time where you disagreed with someone at work, or a time where you made a mistake, a time where you had to correct somebody or someone wasn't doing something right. For teamwork, it's going to ask how you work well on a team, or like what type of teams you like to work on, or how a team can be successful, or leadership. Just, they're gonna ask you questions like that. So have set scenarios for each of those things. Always have examples ready so nothing blindsides you, and make sure you choose examples that can be flexible towards different things. So if they ask me a question, if I have a story ready about how Sarah made me mad on my team and I use that for conflict, if they don't ask me a question about conflict but ask about how well I work on a team or how I feel like a team can be successful, and then I say my thing, and then I can still tie that story back in and say like, oh yeah, even when I do have conflict on a team, blah, 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 for example, this happened, I was able to implement XYZ and we were so successful in the end. So have flexible stories too. So you don't have to have 10 stories ready. You can have 5, but make sure they apply to multiple different things. I really hope this light is not looking horrible. If it is, I'm sorry, because I'm probably gonna post this video anyway. There it goes again. Next tip, oh my gosh guys, is to practice, especially if interviewing is not one of your strengths. Like for me, oh my, I feel like I used to be so bad at them. Like I would come in, I would just be so nervous. I wouldn't know how to answer stuff. I'd be stuttering. I'd be like my voice would be shaking. I would be so nervous. Not like I would have an answer in my head, but not be able to communicate it as well as I could. Like I would just be talking, but in my head yelling like, Hephzibah, what are you saying? That's not what you're supposed to be saying. So yeah, practicing really helps. So once you get those common interview questions that they have, sit down in front of a camera and record yourself, especially, kind of like a higher view setting. Just record yourself or look in the mirror or talk to a wall and answer the questions. Even no matter how awkward it is, that's how you will improve and that's how you get better. Because now after doing so many interviews in person and practicing on my own, I'm so much more comfortable. I go to an interview, I actually don't feel like throwing up anymore, and I could be confident and just have a conversation with the person. And that's what an interview really is. They just want to get to know you. So practice. Practice makes perfect. And if you're not perfect, you're close enough. So y'all, my last tip is to ask for help. I believe this is probably the best thing that you can do for yourself in preparing for an interview, because not only will it help you get a better idea of what to expect, for me personally, it calms me down so much more. Once I have a conversation with someone and hear their experience, it makes me feel so much more relaxed and like, okay, I can do this. So even if it's just one person or 2 people that you call up that have like interviewed with the company or worked for the company, like you're interviewing at before or have just done that type of interview. So say you want to work at like Accenture, like McKinsey or something like that. You can ask anybody who's interviewed with who's done a case interview before, because they're gonna be kind of similar. So definitely recommend doing that. That's exactly what I did. When I found out I got, like, my interview was in like 2 days, I said, wait, like I should start preparing. So I texted a couple of people and I'm like, hey, like I know you did a super day. Could you help me out? Like, could you tell me anything that you learned from that? Can you like give me like can you tell me about your experience, like any tips that you have for me regarding that? And they were so willing to help. So really, if you find someone that you know from school, know from like a business org, know from LinkedIn, like they will, more likely than not, they'll be willing to set up a time with you to talk about it. Even me, I'm willing to talk to you about it. So definitely ask for help. Okay guys, I don't know if I said the last thing was the last the last tip, but this is actually the last thing. And this can't always apply depending on what information like the company gives you, but this is to look up your interviewer. This I think can help a lot. If you do know beforehand, I highly recommend looking up that person. Looking them up on LinkedIn. If you don't want them to see that you looked them up, what I did, I put my LinkedIn account on private and then looked up that person and looked through her account, because then I could see, what you see, their work experience, their like what school they went to. So, in the beginning when they like tell me about yourself, you can like highlight the things that you feel like you have in common with them, or even at the end when you ask the interview questions, you could say, I saw that you were involved in XYZ, could you tell me a little bit more about that? And they'll appreciate that, because 1, people like to talk about themselves, and 2, people always appreciate you knowing your stuff. So yeah, if they give you your interviewer's name beforehand, look them up, do your homework on them. And okay guys, that is all I have for today. Those are my top tips on how to prep for an interview. All those things that I did, well, except for looking up the interviewer, but that's what I did to prepare, and I feel like it really worked. By the time I got to the interview, I was ready, I was calm and ready to answer all the questions that they had, and I'm pretty sure they were successful. I guess I'll update you guys later on that. But yeah, I really hope this helped you, and I hope that if any of you are interviewing, make sure to let me know if you do any of these things and if they work for you. And I wish you guys all the best in your interviewing processes. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know whenever else I post. And make sure to follow me on all my socials. Well, not make sure. If you want to, follow me on all my socials. Yeah, so we can connect, and I'll see you guys next time.